think at times it was a little uncomfortable just because you have a lot of people who are strong about what they believe in and their opinions on things. But at the same time, I feel like it was an experience of a lifetime because a lot of students don't attend these kinds of things, and a lot of students don't take the time out of their day to come and sit and talk. And for us to be here is kind of like we experienced something that we really never, because I really would have never thought about coming here and just sitting in a circle and discussing problems and activities that we need in our CLCs. Because at first they said money, so I said, oh, I'm there. But after doing it, it really wasn't about the money. It was really something that warmed my heart, and I really want to see certain things. And because I'll be the first, my class will be the first class graduating from the New Brookville High School. So it was really something that I could really keep the, it was really something to experience, and it was a great opportunity to do, and I can hope to continue to do it. I will continue to do it, actually.
Shonda, what do you think would make other students interested in this work?
I think what Janessa said, maybe sometimes if it was on a weekend day or something, because everybody who knows Brookville knows that, it's a lot about the sports, and, they have to practice and they have things to do, so a lot of people can't come, or they'll get benched or whatever the situation is. So I think if it really was on the weekend and we really got the word out there, whether it's on the announcements or flyers in the school, I don't really know, but I think maybe if it was on a Saturday or something like that. Saturday morning.
I just want to say one thing about our students. When Shonda said she didn't really know, what I'm imagining is going to happen is Crystal and I are going to get our students together and have them help us work together to know what it's going to take. Because without their voice and their input, we're just going to be doing what we adults think we want.
Community service would be a great way to get high schoolers to participate, because they need community service, mandatory, to get it so they graduate from high school. So,
yeah, for some students, it is, I think to get a, one seal, you have to have 30 hours of work. So that's a good point.
I just think that there was a lot of ambiguity about what the use of the community centers would be, what they would be about. No one knew how to actually access them from the community. They were community centers, but there was no real understanding of how the community could tap into it. So I thought that this whole process would be about educating the community on how to utilize the services or the facilities themselves to better. That's it, primarily. And so when I got involved, I found out that it was a little bit more than that. I think, by and large, the community did get a chance to know that there's a lot that's available. I still think there's still some ambiguity about how to tap into the centers and how to use them as community people. I know that Mason Community Learning Center has done a very great job about utilizing the center and the community coming in and having workshops and having speakers and family reunions taking place inside those learning centers and all kinds of wonderful things. So I was hoping that that kind of information would have been made available through this process. However, I think I got a little bit more out of it in that, and the community's ability to participate in coming up with ideals that the Brookville cluster felt would be useful for this community was phenomenal. It was a great idea. I think we have a lot of work to do, and I'm up for the challenge. But by and large, I learned that there are a lot of different needs that we have that can be met right by the people who are in this community who are still living here. And if we had access to the facility in a way that would allow us to systematically come in and use them, then you would see a lot coming out of these community learning centers based on what was discussed.
And just to sort of talk about that point for a second, first of all, I'm thinking often that the community communications team that Schumacher has will be developing will address some of those issues, because those are of, how do you use the facilities already? What services are already out there, so we need to communicate better and then grow that. And so, the possibility is that, the action team may start out focusing on one CLC and may be spreading to all 4 CLCs and clusters, so that's a good point. Your other point about access to the facilities is one that we understand. I'm looking at Russ, I'm looking at David. We understand is an issue. We're going to try to address that issue as well, because we can say the buildings are here, but if there are access issues and challenges, then we have to address those as well.
There's one other thing too, the vision statement that has been created by the community. I think that's powerful because it allows us to still stay focused as a cluster on what it is that we're trying to do and accomplish. And if we can continue as a community to just think back to that statement in terms of what we're trying to do and accomplish at all of the centers, then the 4 of them will become one big center that has a lot of services for the Bookville cluster. That's what I see coming out of this.
They're all hubs. It's a great vision. That's a great vision. I guess.
I just had a couple comments about the whole process. And I guess a couple things that could have been better is just more instructions on how the ideas was going to be implemented. If there's more than one idea at one CLC, then I guess that should have been retold from the beginning. And also, I think there is a difference between everyone being heard, but there's still influence. Because I remember, of course, you were telling me that everyone has to have these ideals, but now who's going to be the one to help implement those ideals? So we as a group over here, we're committed to help implement our ideals. So we're here, and we're not going nowhere. So, but we are going to be diverse and helping one another too. So I just want to make that comment.
That's a good point. And I think, again, each of those action teams are going to be challenged to increase the number of folks on their team, so that everybody has a role to play, and you got everybody at the table that you need at the table.
I felt a sense of empowerment as a community member in the discussion group. My voice did matter, and they asked me to come join the discussion, and people had to listen. Okay, I know everyone didn't agree with me. And another point, I admire the way I took this idea of Project Ujima to what I call the Carl Lewis Brigade of the African United Front, about the book study and everything, and they jumped on it. Those are some passionate people, and I wish we all could be passionate about our ideas like that in this community. And I'm interested to see how they're going to work this thing out in Christ. I look for them to succeed more than any other group because they are passionate about their beliefs. And sometimes that's what it takes. Okay, that hopefully this whole community can get on board about being passionate about the Bookville area, especially the PTA.
And so that we share our passion with all of the teams. I agree. So it's not just they working on the team, it's us. Okay, anybody else? And so I'm thinking about, because I want us to consider before we leave, how do we get more people to the discussion circles? As Susan mentioned, Dialogue 4 won't be until the fall. So we're going to spend the summer really focusing on meeting with groups, trying to get other people involved in the discussion circles. And then, so how do we get them there? And then two, how do we keep them there? Because people will come out once because they're curious. But to get them coming back so they actually become invested and involved in the project, in the process, is something else. So I think that's a challenge for all of us. We can go through the you tell 2 people and they tell 2 people kind of thing, but we need something a little bit beyond that to make sure that we have folks at the table. So
We have Colleen.
Colleen, and then Carmen, and then Jim.
Yeah, we also have someone back here.
Okay.
One thing, I'm a little scratch your mouth throat, but one thing I think is interesting, you know, we all know that in groups, 20% of the people do 80% of the work. So my concern concern is that we don't get so bogged down in how we get other people here, as long as we have the right passion with the people who are here. When you asked earlier, what did we come together for? I responded because I'm not leaving this community. This is my community. I raised my daughters here as a single parent. I'm helping to raise my grandchildren in this community. So I wanted to be the best community possible. And in order to do that, I have to be passionate enough about the community to stay in it. So in that respect, I've met a lot of people who feel just like I do. This is my community, I'm not going anywhere. And I'm not going to let anybody drive me away from it either. So I think in that respect, we accomplished more than we thought we would. We talked about what we might be able to do, but we also remembered that we love where we live. And this is so important to creating the kind of passion that my brother was talking about earlier. So let's not forget that we don't need everybody all the time. We just need the right people at the right time. The next thing is that this is just the start. I keep hearing people say, I don't know where it's going to go. It's going somewhere, and you just have to be on board if you want to go with us. It's important that we not think that we have to have an end in sight, but that we have progress in sight. And we'll just keep moving forward to a better global cluster, where our children are coming out ready and prepared to go on to higher education, that they are responsible for their behavior, and that they then come back to this community and make it better. I am proud of the work that has been done. There's a whole lot that we learned. I'm telling you, all these retired people, I can't wait to retire so I have all day to work in the community. But the point is, I think what we can do better, we will learn along the way that we'll do that better, and then we'll do some other things not so good. So I think everybody deserves a pat on the back, the young people, the people who came out, the ones who may have only come once or twice, because even their input made us have to think about things.
We have to remember what we are about, Project Ujima, collective works and responsibility. And me as a single parent, I'm learning from my son. We have to be involved in their world and how they communicate in order to get things done and accomplished. I'm learning how to do Twitter. I'm learning how to do Facebook. You know, whatever else is out there, I'm going to follow my son and do it. So that's how we have to get the word out there. You know, we as parents aren't always right. So the way that we learn, the children of today do not learn that way. So we have to get the communication out the best way that we know how, through our young people's eyes. Whether we think it's wrong or not, they know how to communicate. They know how to communicate in an instant. So that's my portion on how do we get our vision out there.
People are more important than possessions. That principle is more important than power. And that service is more important than success. May our children, and our children's children, bring forth with nobility. Voice. Now to the Creator of us all. We dedicate our lives. To make our community